Well, since Chairwoman Amina Mohammed began the process with Director General Azevedo yesterday, there's been a whirlwind of activity here. We've had groups meeting in every possible format, large groups, small groups, discussing the critical issues of trade, delivering for Africa in a way which would be very important. These are the sort of micro technical issues that are under discussion now. There's a macro issue, which is really geopolitical in nature, which is the way forward. Do we continue to negotiate in the existing format, the 14-year-old Doha Development Agenda, or do we try another approach? A lot of this has to do with what's going on now in terms of emerging countries, their place in the world, what's expected of them. Are they being asked too much? Are they being told that they should take on the same burden, for example, as the advanced countries? Very similar issues to what we saw in Paris last week at the COP21. 14 years, I think everyone would agree, that's a very long time to be negotiating a multilateral trade agreement. We need to find ways to bring closure to these negotiations and to be able to start discussing how we're going to advance in the coming years. Well, Africa is one of the most dynamic regions of the world. It's the fastest growing continent, it's the youngest continent. When you go around this continent, when you walk around in Nairobi, you sense a dynamism that's really remarkable. But it's true, we have not been able to deliver on the Doha Development Agenda. And I know that's a source of frustration in this country, in this continent, but it's not limited to here. People are frustrated around the globe. We have not been able to conclude these important negotiations.
Yes.
And that's why the issue of what we do next is so important. Because people have been frustrated at the slow pace of our negotiations, they've looked elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's happening here. You've got the tripartite free trade agreement negotiations, the continental-wide FTA. It's happening across the Atlantic, it's happening in the Pacific, across Asia, it's happening everywhere. These agreements themselves are no threat to the WTO. In fact, they can bring energy, some new ideas. They're like a laboratory for trade. The problem is that the danger is not from external, it's internal. We need to deliver, we need to do a better job of coming to consensus among our 162 members and reaching agreements that deliver benefits for this part of the world and the entire developing world.